Have you ever blurted out something or reacted a little too strongly and thought, whoa, where did that come from? Welcome to the shadow zone. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is the unconscious side of your personality. All the parts of yourself that you reject or hide, often because you think they're bad or unacceptable. It's basically everything that you've stuffed into the emotional closet. Fears, impulses, insecurities, even hidden talents. But the twist, that closet doesn't stay shut forever. No sir, no way. But hey, this isn't some dark, dramatic doom spiral. We're here to turn on the flashlight and explore the shadow together. Think of this as an inner excavation without the emotional hangover. Self-discovery served in bites. This video is your guide to meeting your shadow self through a series of interactive questions, examples, and aha moments. We will explore what's lurking just beneath your carefully curated surface and what it might be trying to teach you. This is basically you getting to know you better. Picture your mind as an iceberg. What people see, your opinions, your outfits, your killer playlist, that's just the tip. But beneath the surface, that is the unconscious. Raw, unfiltered, and often unexplored. That is where the shadow lives. So, if you're ready to meet the part of yourself that throws emotional tantrums when no one's watching or quietly craves attention but pretends it doesn't, I suggest you grab a notebook and get comfy and ready to dig in. Let's get started by turning inward. Flashlight in hand, detective hat on. These first questions are designed to help you spot the parts of yourself you might be tucking away in the back of the mental closet. The feelings you shove down, the traits you pretend you don't have, the weird little gremlins you hope no one else notices. Yep, those. Think of this part as pulling back the mask you wear for the world and getting curious, getting really curious about what's underneath. There's no rush here. You can pause the video, write freely, and please, 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 pretty please resist the urge to edit yourself. No one is grading this. And also, if you just want to follow along and answer mentally, that works too. But the first question I would like to ask you is, what is something you've been avoiding or afraid to face about yourself or your life? It could be a feeling, a decision, that unopened text you've been ghosting for a month. So tell me, what is something that you have been avoiding or afraid to face about yourself or your life? What have you been afraid to face? We all have something, right? It's very good that you could identify it. And what emotions do you avoid like the plague? Anger, sadness, feeling needy, vulnerability. Which emotions are you just avoiding like the plague? Okay. And what is one thing about you that you really don't want people to know? Could be a secret habit, a regret, a part of your personality you hope just flies under the radar. One thing, just one that you really hope people don't know. You really don't want them to know. Growing up, what traits did you learn were bad or too much? Crying too easily, speaking up, wanting attention. When you were growing up, the traits that you learned were bad, too much. We're getting somewhere. When do you notice yourself pretending or people pleasing instead of being real? Work meetings, dating apps, family dinners. When are you a people pleaser? This is good work. So let's break it down now, shall we? Those questions were designed to shine a light on your feelings and aspects that you have pushed so hard, crammed down into your psychological basement. The ones that you have labeled with a big Sharpie. Not allowed. Do not open. Never open. In Jungian terms, that collection of repressed bits. That's your shadow. Over time, most of us create a very polished version of ourselves, a persona that wins approval. But what happens to all the parts that don't make the cut? Where do those go? What do those be? Contrary to popular belief, they don't disappear. They simmer. They plot. They sometimes show up uninvited at the worst possible moments. For example, let's say you avoid conflict like it's a cursed to-do list. You may have learned early on that anger equals bad, so you quietly buried it. Except anyone with repressed anger knows it doesn't politely stay buried. It finds sneaky exits, passive aggression, road rage, a full-on temper tantrum when you can't find your phone. Does this sound familiar? Or maybe you wrote, "I hate feeling needy," and then you realize you never ask for help. That could point to the shadow belief that if you need support, you're weak. And if that belief's been running the show from the shadows, it's probably exhausting you. But there is good news. The moment you spot it, you take away some of its power. Take it back. Take that power back. Okay, so now that you're aware of this side of you, what do you do with it? First, give that hidden part of yourself a little compassion. You learn to tuck it away for a reason. It feels like it's protecting you. And second, ask yourself where that belief came from, and if it's actually still serving you. Do you know where that belief came from? Is it actually still serving you? Third, Try something tiny and brave. Let someone know you're overwhelmed. Set one boundary. Just one, try for two. Cry in the shower. And don't apologize for it. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps eventually lead to a big integration. And I also have a side mission for you, should you choose to accept it. Take a breath and read what you wrote, or reflect on what just came up for you right now. Was there anything that surprised you? Did you spot a part of yourself that you usually ignore or judge? If you feel safe to share, please drop a little insight in the comments. Something like, I just realized I pretend to be fine way too often. It might sound small, but it's massive. And odds are someone else is going to see it and say, hey, me too. And also, congratulations. Seriously, nice work. You've taken a giant step by being willing to look at yourself on a deeper level. That's the hardest part. Seriously, gold star. Are you ready to keep going? I love to hear it. Let's see what your shadow thinks about everyone else. Because we've looked inward, and now it's time to look outward. Here's a fun twist. Sometimes the things and people that trigger us aren't random. They're mirrors. In Jung speak, it's called projection. When we see in others what we have unconsciously disowned in ourselves. Think of it like your shadow going, hey, I know that trait. I'm just not allowed to have it, so let's yell at someone who does. See it all the time, right? Are you ready to test your inner mirror? Grab your notebook again, and let's try these next questions. Ready? Who is someone you cannot stand, and why? Could be a celebrity, a boss, an old friend, someone who chews too loud. Right, write it down or think it. Someone you just can't stand. Yeah. Yikes. Alright, next question. What traits in others make you instantly judge or roll your eyes? Think laziness, arrogance, neediness, being too loud, too quiet. Do something. Write it down or think it. I got it. Alright. And who do you envy? Even a little. Who are you envious of? It's okay, the list can be long, but let's just start with one person. Envious. Very good. What exactly do they have or do that stirs that feeling up in you? And who do you secretly admire or put on a pedestal? There's gotta be someone. Admit it. This is you with yourself right now, so it's totally okay to be vulnerable. Alright? Who do you put on a pedestal? Good. What qualities do they have that make you think, oh, I wish I was like that? Which qualities? Brilliant. We got somewhere again. We're cruising. Are you ready for the truth juice? Projection isn't just about negativity. It's about recognizing parts of yourself you've lost touch with. Let's say arrogant people make your blood boil. It's possible, just possible, that deep down you've been taught to always stay humble, never shine too bright, or never ask for attention. Your shadow might still crave a little spotlight, but since you've exiled that desire, it comes out as judgment when someone else takes up space. And boom, instant irritation. Or maybe you envy people who seem effortlessly confident or creative. That could be your golden shadow speaking. The bright parts of yourself that got tucked away because they felt too bold, too weird, or too risky to show. But you still recognize them. That's why they spark envy, or admiration, or a low-key identity crisis. As Young would put it, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Translation: your haters are low-key guiding you back to your unclaimed self. Alright, cool. So, what the fuck do you do with all of this anyway? Next time you're triggered by someone's vibe, hit pause. Ask, could this trait live in me somewhere? Is it something I've rejected, buried, or secretly wish I could express? This doesn't mean that you are that person, only that they're tapping on a nerve. And those nerves, always worth exploring. On the flip side, if you admire someone deeply, ask yourself, how can I embody more of that? If you love how bold or expressive someone is, maybe it's time to test drive that energy. Take a baby step. Post something honest. Wear the thing. Say the thought. Let the golden shadow peek out. And then take this mini mission, Cosmic Sleeper Agent. Pick one person, just one, who triggers you or inspires you, and reflect on what they might be reflecting back to you. Then if you're feeling brave, drop it in the comments. I always get annoyed by confident people. Maybe I'm scared of being seen. That is shadow work in action. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's wild how quickly things start clicking when you get curious instead of reactive, isn't it? And the good news is, we ain't stopping. We are going to keep going because we've got more layers to peel back, peel back, peel back. And next up is emotional overreactions, weird patterns, and the moments your shadow grabs the wheel without asking. So buckle up and hold on to your hats because here we go. Have you ever had a reaction that felt way too big for the situation? Like someone made a tiny comment, and suddenly you found yourself spiraling into a full-blown meltdown, silent treatment, or inner monologue worthy of an Oscar. Congratulations. That was likely your shadow taking the wheel. We are about to zero in on emotional triggers and recurring patterns. The places where your shadow doesn't whisper, it yells. These questions will help you track where your unconscious might be running the show. Are you ready? When is the last time you totally overreacted to something small? Tell me, what happened? And what did it really stir up? Overreacted. Something really small. Which emotional triggers hit you like a truck. Criticism, rejection, being ignored, feeling left out. I want you to get really specific. So which emotional triggers just send you out? Very good. Which life pattern keeps looping, 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 like a bad sequel? Toxic friendships, quitting right before success, always being the fixer. There tends to be those patterns that repeat again and again and again and again and again. So let's shine the light on those two. What pattern keeps repeating for you? What kind of feedback makes you instantly defensive? If someone gives you advice, let's say, what makes you puff up your fur and fluff your tail out like that classic cartoon cat pose? And what are you afraid they're actually seeing in you? What are you afraid they're actually seeing in you? What do you sabotage and why? Think procrastination, ghosting, overthinking, picking fights you didn't need to start. What do you sabotage and why? Do you sabotage? Have you noticed yourself sabotaging anything more specific? Wow, thank you for going there. And thank you so much for continuing to reflect and share. Here's the deal. Our triggers are like breadcrumbs that lead straight to the shadow. When your emotional response doesn't match the moment, chances are you're not just reacting to now, you're reacting to then. Old pain, old programming, old beliefs. Say someone gives you gentle feedback, and suddenly you feel attacked, unworthy, and 1 inch tall. That could trace back to a childhood moment where being wrong meant being punished or unloved. So now, even when the older version of you hears, "You could improve this," it feels like you're not enough. Cue the shutdown, right? Or maybe you keep getting close, so close to something good, a relationship, a career move, and then boom, you self-destruct. Pro tip, that's not laziness, that's fear in disguise. Your shadow might hold a belief like, "I don't deserve this," or "If I try, I might fail." So it hits the brakes before you even get out of the driveway. Defensiveness, sabotage, overreactions, they're not character flaws, they're messages. Your shadow isn't trying to ruin your life, it's trying to protect you. It just memorized some outdated tactics along the way. So the next time a trigger hits, don't judge it, track it. Ask yourself, what is the real emotion underneath this reaction? Where did I learn to fear this feeling? Is this story still true or just familiar? Then try to do something differently. If you want to disappear after criticism, try staying. If your instinct is to people please, try telling the truth kindly. Every time you respond with awareness, you invite the shadow into the light. Now, I want you to look back at a moment where you overreacted. Do you know the deeper story your shadow is trying to tell you? If you feel called to, share your reflection in the comments. Something like, I realized I panic when people pull away because it reminds me of how I felt as a kid. That kind of honesty cracks things, cracks it wide open for you and for anyone else reading them. You're doing big work here. Seriously. This is the part where most people tap out, and you're leaning in. So let's keep going. Yeah? What do you do with all of this insight? And how do you turn your shadow from a saboteur into a secret ally? Because you've done the hardest part. You looked at what you hide, what you project, and where you spiral. Shadow work isn't about fixing yourself. It's about recognizing the parts you've exiled and inviting them back to the table. Even the loud ones, and especially the messy ones. Because guess what? The shadow isn't just a dumping ground for shame and insecurity. It's also where your power, creativity, and authenticity have been hiding, waiting for permission. I have some integration questions for you. The kind that will gently move you from insight to action. So, feel free to answer them in a journal or in your mind. Ready? What strengths or gifts have you buried because you were told they were too much, not practical, or weird? Okay. What compliments do you constantly reject or downplay? Hint, they might actually be true. But which ones? Okay. What negative trait are you ashamed of that might also be a hidden superpower? For example, stubbornness is resilience, sensitivity, empathy, jealousy is unspoken desire. So what might actually be your hidden superpower? All right. What's one thing you could do this week to express a part of yourself that you usually hide? For example, saying what you think, asking for help, wearing that outfit, saying no. Expressing a part of yourself you usually hide. Beautiful. Yes, I hope you do it. Excellent work. We are really getting somewhere. Do you smell that? It smells like progress. So, what does integration actually look like? It's not a dramatic breakthrough or a glowing halo over your head. It's much more subtle than that. Integration looks like speaking up when you used to stay silent, letting yourself cry without apologizing, owning your ambition, your creativity, your weird sense of humor without shrinking, asking for what you need and not immediately feeling guilty about it. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming someone more whole. Because here's the wild thing. The traits that you've rejected the hardest might be exactly what you need to live more fully. When you stop wasting energy hiding them, you gain access to everything they were blocking. Confidence, clarity, connection. Not so bad, right? But just so you know, shadow work, it never ends. You're going to keep discovering new layers. You will continue to face parts of yourself most people spend their whole life avoiding. But now you've got tools. When a trigger shows up, you'll pause instead of panic. When envy flares, you'll dig into what it's pointing to. When you catch yourself shrinking, you'll remember that part of you has a place. Whether you've uncovered buried feelings, spotted a few spicy projections, or finally made peace with your inner chaos gremlins, you've taken real steps towards self-awareness and integration. That is the work. It's not fixing, it's not performing, it's just honestly meeting yourself. So keep journaling, keep observing, and when in doubt, come back to this question. What part of me is trying to be seen right now? And what is one insight from this whole process that hit home the hardest? What's one action you're willing to take this week to honor it? Drop it in the comments. Whatever it is, you're not just saying it. By sharing it, you are practicing integration in real time. And hey, if this video helped you feel more human, more seen, or just a little less alone in your inner chaos, please share it with someone who's ready to go deep. And let me know if there's anything that you're interested in exploring next. Shadow work is not about perfection. It's about wholeness. And you